Well, I'm at the airport as promised, but looks like my flight has been delayed. Vlogging in public is terrifying. I expect I'll get used to it over time, but yeah, I can feel the eyes in the back of my head burning into them. Now that's how you do winter. I want to talk a bit about why I decided to come here. First thing you need to know is this isn't the first time I've been to Tenerife. Just before I last came here in September, I was kind of in this constant flip-flopping period as to where I wanted to take the Operatic. I had some video ideas, but they were very ambitious, and I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I ended up getting pretty much nothing done. And that period lasted months. Combine that with a few other personal things that were going on I might explain in a later video. And basically I was in a bit of a slump, and I wasn't actually going to go away last year. I was going to maybe save up my money and do something else. I think I had it in my mind that I might want to buy a house or something, but now that's definitely not a priority. I want to focus on the channel, I want to grow the channel. I needed to do something to break out of that state that I was in. So I came here. And it really worked. I'm not sure I can articulate why. I think it's a combination of I tend to be a warm weather person. If you live in the tropics or even somewhere like LA or Florida and you haven't really traveled much, then you really can't understand what it feels like to be someone from Scotland coming to a place like this in January. At this time of year, during the week, I would get to work and the sun would just be about to come up. I go into a room where there are windows, but there's a covering over it, so we can't really see anything. I then come out at the end of the day and the sun has just dipped down below the horizon again. It's dusk, which basically means during the week I don't see the sun at all. It's rarely below freezing. It does happen. We do get some snow a few days during the whole winter period, but it is generally quite cold, low single digits, at best in Celsius, 30 to 40 Fahrenheit roughly. Coming to a place like this where you can not only see the sun for a decent amount of time, it's actually warm in winter. I have never experienced something like that in my life. In an hour or two I will fulfill the second resolution for my main channel. Experience warm weather in winter. And even something as tiny as this, psychologically, physiologically as well. I think I'm right in saying it helps with vitamin D and stuff like that. So the plan is, today I'm just going to stay here in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, the main city on the island. There's a kind of botanic gardens that I didn't get to see last time, so I'll take some footage from there. I think tomorrow go to the south, the Playa de las Americas, Costa Deje. They tend to be the main clubbing resorts. I don't know what we'll actually see there, but you never know. On Wednesday I'm not entirely sure. I think I might want to go back to the north to Puerto de la Cruz. That was the kind of area I stayed in last time. Alright, so I am in the Palmitum in Santa Cruz de Tenerife. I want to reiterate again just how amazing it is to experience warm weather in January. If you're from a northern latitude country, or flip it all around, July if you're in a southern latitude country, you just, it's like a caveman discovering fire. So I'm going to show you around this place. I couldn't come here last time. Basically I had one day left. There was someone I met here last time. I was going to go walk around the place with her, but then that by the time we got there it was shut, so we'll see what the place is like this time. I haven't seen anyone else here, so I think I'm more or less alone. So yeah, that's fine. I mean, I've still not vlogged in public much. I think it'll take a while to get over the nerve, so that's ideal. The Santa Cruz skyline. I'm not part of the gardens, I just thought I'd show you this. That's some kind of amphitheatre, I'll caption it. You know, if Brexit goes south, I think I might end up doing that as well. I think I've found my plan B. Slight miscalculation. I've not put any sunscreen on. That's the thing about going from, you know, Edinburgh in January to Tenerife. You don't have a sense of what 20 degrees actually feels like, and so you kind of forget that you do actually need it. Also, you know, it reaches that temperature in Edinburgh in summer, but you never really need it because either it's always raining or you're in between buildings, so the sun never really hits you, and you're never really outside for that long anyway. But yeah, here you definitely do. I'll need to try and stay out of the sun. There's some clouds as well, so it shouldn't be too bad. I don't think it'll burn that much. I don't think I'll burn at all, to be honest. I probably should get some for tomorrow, because in the south it'll definitely be a different story. Wonder what this looks like when you run with it. That's it. Cactus. Okay, so I've just been to a part of the garden called the Sustainable Corner, and I'm going to use that to seamlessly segue into a brief discussion about things like Cleantech and just carbon emissions, things like that, because I think that is going to be quite a big part of the Operatic going forward. I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm in Tenerife and I took a flight to get here, so obviously that's not a great start, but if you follow my Twitter, you know that I care quite a lot about this kind of stuff. I follow Elon Musk's work with Tesla and Solar City, and yeah, no, SpaceX is kind of the backup if we've just completely screwed and we can't do anything about it. So yeah, obviously that contributes carbon emissions, but obviously you need to have a backup, so that's fine. Now I think when it comes to this kind of stuff we're at a turning point, because renewables are now pretty much at the point where they're competing with fossil fuels. Certainly in America, places like California where you get a lot of sun, solar power is pretty much at what they call grid parity. It's the same in places like Hawaii as well. And the thing about technologies like solar power and wind power is they just get cheaper over time. So the more you build them out, the more you invest in them, the price just keeps going down. Obviously that's good news, because people generally speaking tend to care about price when it comes to these kind of things. Maybe some people are willing to pay a premium for clean technologies, but most people are just going to want the cheapest option. So when the cheapest option is in fact the greenest option, things will just naturally roll forward in and of themselves, and we're seeing that. The extent to which solar power and wind power is being adopted globally is increasing exponentially. I'm very much following the progress. I've even got on my website, I took a bunch of data as to where solar power and wind power was in the past, and I plotted it on an exponential trend just to try and estimate where we'd be in the future. I'll need to check it against the most recent data because I created it a few months ago. It may well be the estimate's a bit off, but we'll see. But yeah, things are very promising on that trend. Politically speaking, it's the opposite. Brexit happened, and the Conservative government, the one that's the Tory government, the one that we have at the moment, doesn't seem to have much of an interest. Of course, they say they do, they have to say that, but their actions speak very, very loudly in terms of where their priorities lie. They authorised a nuclear project which was ridiculously expensive. The Hinkley power plant, you might have heard of it. Really stupid. I mean, why not just invest in solar and wind when the prices are just continuing to drop? But other than that, they're very much about fossil fuels. And obviously in America, Donald Trump. Oh, so global warming was a hoax created by the Chinese. Come on. I mean, I get it. I mean, I've been following the news. I know why a lot of you guys voted for him. I think in the slightly more distant future, I have some ideas about the channel that might help people think about the right kind of solutions to these problems as well. Maybe even get some concrete action going on them. But obviously, I have to make progress with the channel first. I have to actually get to that point. There's no telling whether I will. And obviously, I have to hold myself accountable as well. I'm not going to lie, I love travelling, but there's a massive carbon cost associated with doing it. So I have to strike a balance, I think, between the things I do on the channel to get discussions going about these kind of technologies, while also making sure that, I don't come off as a hypocrite. Now, obviously, if I spend all my time worrying about my own carbon footprint, that's time taken away from the channel. But I think I do need to have some kind of system where I hold myself accountable. And I was thinking about maybe a carbon budget to achieve that. Really, at the moment, I'm just playing around with ideas, things that may happen, but all of this assumes that the channel actually takes off and goes somewhere. And I'm going to work extremely hard to make sure that that happens. Well, would you look at that? My arm's getting quite tired. How did Casey Neistat and Fun for Louie and all these people actually do this every day? I have a lot more respect for them now. And I mean, they have massive big cameras. This is just a phone. Mental people. If you put in the effort, one day they will bear fruit. I couldn't resist. Come on. See, that tree may have been a better idea for the pun. What's up here? Anything over this? Nah. That's the thing, Edinburgh's Botanic Gardens is relatively flat. Quite spread out. This one's mostly on one hill, so everything's kind of at different elevations. It's all quite crammed in. You know when you make a terrible metaphor and you find an even better tree to make your point? Tenerife, it's cute that you think this is rain. This is kind of cool. What have we got here? Okay, better, but this time do it from the sky. I mentioned earlier that Palmeaton was really hilly in comparison to Edinburgh's Botanic Gardens. I found out why, and it's incredibly interesting. Turns out we're basically standing on a landfill site. Basically, this used to be a rubbish dump, and they've essentially they've created all of this on top of it. I like the way you think, Tenerife. So that's the Palmeaton. If you're ever in Tenerife, well worth a look. Now, about that sunscreen. There we go. At some point I think I'll need to upgrade, so I'm having a look at what Carrefour has to offer. Not bad. I also got this energy drink while I was in. One of my favourite drinks is Relentless. I'm trying to cut down on it, but I saw this last time and I didn't get to try, so I want to see how it compares. It's really nice. It's seriously really good. It's definitely better than all the other energy drinks I've tried. Certainly comes very close to Relentless. I'll need to give it see how I feel after I've had the whole can. I just want to make another Brexit related point. When I was in the Carrefour downstairs, the cashier asked me in Spanish if I wanted a bag, and obviously I was in Spanish, I don't speak Spanish, I didn't know what to do, so she then said it in English. Now of course, if you speak English and you've been abroad, you're probably used to people switching to English when you don't understand them. But think about that for a second. Tenerife is a pretty touristy island, but the main touristy areas are in the south, in Costa Adeje, places like that. This is Santa Cruz de Tenerife, this is the city, and yet still most people speak English as well. And you've got to wonder. One of the things that the Brexiteers complained about was immigration, about people coming in and stealing their jobs, and some people not learning the language. Well, we don't have to when we go abroad. And think, I mean, if that cashier could speak Spanish and English, do jobs here require that you speak more than one language? Imagine if we were in Britain, because imagine if just to be a cashier in a supermarket you had to speak Polish or Urdu as well. There would be fucking outrage. And yet I feel really guilty being here, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, if you follow the news, just follow world events generally, Spain hasn't had an easy time in the last few years. They've had huge problems with unemployment and their debt. I come here, I don't know how to speak Spanish. Everyone's just so incredibly friendly. They have so many more reasons to be angry at people who come here. I mean, yeah, the tourism angle probably helps, but still, places like Tenerife show that we can do better, that these attitudes that we have in English-speaking countries, nationalism, this overzealous patriotism, we can do better. Poverty, stagflation, things like that. Yeah, I sympathise, I do, but that's no excuse to treat people from other places the way that we have been doing, the way that we've been talking about them. It's disgusting. This is the 21st century. Ideas like that are obsolete now. They make no sense. Things are only going to become more connected. We're only going to be more globalized. There's no point resisting it. Can we not just move on? Anyway, that's the end of my rant. I'm now in the Parque Municipal Garcia Sanabria. Pretty sure I got that one right. I'll annotate it just in case. He's asked me to stop, so I've stopped. He's going to put his hand down any second and I'll be able to walk again. Any minute now. Whereas this guy is desperately trying not to fall off. And this guy seems very depressed. I guess you would be if a pigeon's shitting on your head. That's better. I was wrong. It wasn't a guy. I misgendered. And I'm glad I got him. And I'm glad I got him from the back. The Plaza España, the main square in Santa Cruz de Tenerife. Last time I came here, I sat around and I kind of fantasized about what I would do if I vlogged this, what I would say. But I had this phone on me, why didn't I just do it? And I think that really drives home the point that this is what I want to do, generally. I couldn't see it at the time. I was focused on another aspect. But I was focused on something different, a different vision for the project, so I was blind to what I actually wanted to do. Whatever you daydream about doing, that's kind of what you should be doing, I think. To some extent, at least. Because nowadays, we can make it work. You know, there are ways to pretty much monetize anything, whatever you want to do. You might not think you can turn it into a job, but with the internet there's probably a way of making it possible, so just do it, just go for it. Natural History Museum. I was in there last time I was here and it was completely deserted. pretty much. Having said that, it was September, a Saturday. Most people were probably in the south. Since we're in an art space, I thought I might tell you one of, I think, the most valuable things that I've learned. It's to do with creativity, coming up with new ideas, new concepts. A lot of people nowadays, for their careers, tend to specialise in one tiny subfield to become an expert in it. And to some extent that's what you have to do. But new ideas tend to come from when you combine two completely different things. So even if you're specializing in one, super specific area, if you have a hobby that has nothing to do with it, an interest that is completely unrelated, pursue that as well, because you never know when, well, let's just say that knowledge might spur some burst of insight. For example, I don't really like specializing in anything. I want to learn about as much as I possibly can. Anything that really takes my interest, just because I want to understand how things work. Then you can begin to piece the entire puzzle together. When you do that, you can look at a situation holistically. Find out exactly how the different parts fit together. How the entire thing works, basically. Change of plans. I'm not in the south. I came to pretty much the middle of nowhere. Not a whole lot here. Maybe there's something over there. That town in the distance is San Andres. Best thing about it, no fault line. Let me just briefly justify my day drinking here. There's a filter here. There's obviously the one that keeps you from saying what you want to say, and that's good. You don't want that one to really go down. You want to be loose enough that you can actually function, which I struggle with sometimes. But you don't want it to be so low that you just say any old shit. But there's a second filter, there's a thought filter. At least there is for me. And it needs to be lubricated so that it goes down just enough so that I can deliver the gold that you really come here for. Not, this. This. Like, I needed to justify it somehow. One thing that I saw on the news before I left here was that the UK's Supreme Court said that, you know, if you're going to do Brexit, you have to discuss it in Parliament, which is good because you want to get the best deal possible. You want to make sure there aren't, you know, certain groups of people that are being screwed over. And I think they kind of wanted to rush it. One of the most worrying things about the Brexit vote for me was that the thing that most strongly correlated with the vote to leave was support for the death penalty. And I don't want to see that return to the UK. You know, if you follow American politics, you know that it really doesn't work over there. It's really expensive to do in a humane way. It rarely ever happens. Despite all of the effort and the money they go to, innocent people still slip through. And if they do screw up this Brexit discussion, you never know, we might end up with it again. This is where I spent most of my time last time I was here. We're in the north of the island. As you can see, it's a bit cloudier, a bit windier. This is the Playa Martianes, known for its black sand. These are the pools. I was here last time as well. You have to pay to get in, but it looks like no one's here. I think it might even be shut. I just read that Donald Trump signed 5 more executive orders. One of them had to do with Keystone, another one with DAPL. And I'm just recording this to say, fuck you, the Donald. Fuck you. I will never call you President Trump. You're just scum. Get fucked. Well guys, I think I made a big mistake. I should have come here all along. I should have stayed here. And I should have extended my stay by about 2 weeks or so. That's the thing, I tend to avoid the touristy places. just because I want to see what the rest of the place is like. I don't just want to be a cliche, but the touristy places are touristy places for a reason. And I think nowhere is that more true than here. Perfect weather. Must be about 23 degrees. The town's massive. I've got 5 hours here before I have to meet someone in Santa Cruz. There is no way I'm going to be able to explore the tiniest fraction of this place in that time. But I'll get some clips, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, so there's that. This guy's built an amazing sandcastle. I've never seen anything like this. Correction, I think we have a new winner. There's still more. It just doesn't stop. Fun fact, Tenerife has the same flag as Scotland. That island over there is La Gomera. You can just see it from here. I think we can also see La Palma and just El Hierro. As I mentioned, today's my last day here. I get the flight tomorrow. I'm gonna miss this place, but I'm definitely gonna be coming back. Last few videos of Santa Cruz. Here's the building I showed you from the Palmitan up close. And that was Tenerife. I hope you guys liked the video. I'm not going to shoot any more footage for the rest of the week. I'm just going to focus on putting up last week's Brain Hack Diary and this one's with all the footage from Tenerife, and hopefully you'll like what you see. And then next week I'm off work again, so I'll experiment with a whole load of different things. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm just going to be filming here. But it's not going to be a repeat of last week's where it's just me talking to the camera and nothing else. I'm going to experiment with all sorts of editing techniques and filming angles, even CGI. I've only scratched the surface of what I can do with Blender so far. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.